At my beginning in 1942, I was in heaven. And at that time in 1942, what happened on the earth was the atom bomb was dropped. And the whole galaxy was upset. They were ruining our beautiful planet. And across the galaxy, there's word saying, the earth is in trouble, the earth is in trouble. Does anybody want to help? Does anybody want to go to the earth? I volunteered. I was one of the first. So I had to decide what human being that I was going to be birthed out of. And I was shown the earth and shown women. And I picked my mother, Frances Rachel Pilkington. And evidently I had to wait some time because at the time she was 21 and she wasn't married. And at 34, she gave birth to me. I came out of her womb and everything was wonderful. She was a wonderful person, a wonderful mother. I thought I had a wonderful dad. Of course, we're not shown when you're in heaven the problems those people have. But man, my life was great. This little girl was smart. I was left-handed, and they say left-handed people are smart. And I was done everything early. By the time I was 1, I was talking, I was using the bathroom, I was doing every mark that above all things. My mom took me to the doctor because I was left-handed. I remember my dad going to the bathroom and peeing in the pot, and then I went in and I thought I could do the same, so I took my pants down and I peed on the floor. Little girl, but she was pretty cute. At 2 years old, I've been told that my mother cut her wrists, and I saved her from her life, from dying. I have a picture of an ant over my baby bed in in wonder of how this 2-year-old could save her mother's life. I was every day going to Grandma's house across the street. Grandma called me on this phone that was wooden and had this thing coming out of it in the middle where you talk to, and it had a cord with this thing you put to your ear, and they say, Mitzi, Grandma got cookies and milk for you. You want to come over? Every day I go over to Grandma's house. I even would walk about a mile down the road to see my cousin that was just a few months younger than me. I was born in July. A Leo, the lion, I'm just as good. And just a roar of a beautiful woman, young child. I loved my long hair. My hair was down to my butt. My grandma didn't like it. Sorry. And she begged my dad to cut my hair. I remember the first tears I ever wept and my dad did too. We went to the hair salon and cut my hair. I think it was like to my shoulder, but we cried and cried. And my whole entire life I wanted that long hair down to my feet. And for some reason, I was told to cut it. So I wasn't as bold as that little girl. I wasn't that wonderful child that I thought I was. So I didn't have any confidence in myself. Didn't believe that I was pretty. So evidently when somebody told me to cut my hair, I thought I must be ugly. No, cutting my hair might be making me beautiful. So, as you can see, my hair isn't down to my feet. But I remember falling down the stairs when I was probably 2. There was a hole in the wood step. And when I went across to see Grandma, I had Grandpa too. I remember him holding me on his lap. And at home, I sat on my dad's lap, and we played a game called Kaboom, which is, I say, the first Kaboom game. When I hit my dad in the head with my forehead, and I'd go kaboom, and it hurt, but I pretended it didn't, and I just kept going kaboom, and I laughed, and sometimes I'd look at the corner of my eye and laugh at my dad because I was teasing him. I didn't know my dad was an alcoholic. Life was good then. I thought I was the most wonderful child in the world. I was proud of myself. When I was they tell me I was 3, almost 4, but they said my Grandpa died and Grandma could no longer take care of us girls. And I did have a sister. I have 2 sisters, but that's a long story too. Well, I remember going to court, and the judge asked to see my sister. My sister wasn't able to walk at that time. She was 18 months, really dilated backwards. Now, I never know who lies and who tells the truth, because I believe I was in the hospital, but my aunt tells me it was my sister. My sister wouldn't eat meat, and she was anemic. For some reason, I remember getting toys when I was in the hospital. I don't know who tells the truth and who tells the lies today. But in that court session, my Aunt Jenny took us girls. I wished Uncle. Trying to figure out which uncle because I had 9. My uncle lived in Portland, Oregon. He lived in Washington. There was Uncle Vince that lived across the street when Grandma died. He never moved out of home. He stayed get out and didn't get married, and there's Claire and Dick and um, anyway, Jerome. I would have rather lived with Jerome, but Jerome only wanted to take me and not my sister, so the courts gave both of us to my aunt on Easter Sunday. That was the beginning of hell. So I was taken into her house, and the oldest boy was 12 years older than me. So that would have been, he was in high school, 16, I believe. And he was showing me how to make a bed, how to do the corners and everything. And I didn't do it right, really. And not only did I have 4 new brothers, and I always fought over who was the oldest. Of course, Kevin was 6 months older, and he was born in January, and I was born in July. I'm really proud of being a Leo. My mother was born in December. We both had the number 27. 27 is quite important. But my grandpa Pilkington lived with us. He had a brain thing, Parkinson's disease. And I remember using that old-fashioned toaster, not the pop kind, the kind you put on a rack and push the rack in and close the door, and every time burnt toast, and Grandpa had to eat it. He loved burnt toast. I don't know why anybody wants burnt toast, but Grandpa always ate the burnt toast. Grandpa died. We had a funeral in the home. It was a big house. I wish they'd do funerals that way again. Be cheaper. I'm not to die in this world, but I'll live a long time in the new earth. Anyway, I don't remember when hell started exactly. I think right after Grandpa died. Us girls had a room next to the kitchen. And my little sister fell out of her bed. Somehow it was such a big deal that she fell out of her bed. She was okay. Somehow, somewhere, my aunt decided that I was evil. So, forgive me if I stop the video and start again tomorrow. Oh, so my aunt takes me off to the side. My name was Mitzi, but my dad put Donna on the birth certificate. At 4 years old, she tells me I have to change my name. And argue. No, my name's Mitzi. My name's Mitzi. No, no. Today I have multiple personality disorder, and I do have a 3-year-old because of my name change. It seems so simple to have it be such a traumatic thing for a 4-year-old to change her name. There was the start of her hatefulness towards me. Forgive me. All the things. I wanted her to love me as much as I was loved by my natural parents. My aunt was my mother's sister. My dad and my mom come visit. My mom was in the mental institution, basically where I was born. And they took me from her from the mental institution to Iowa City to give birth to me. Same with my sisters. My drunken dad brought my mom when she was out of the hospital to come visit me and my sister. And I was so excited to open the door and say hi to my mom and dad, only to hear a drunk dad. I screamed and cried, and Wayne, the oldest boy, went to the door and took my mom and dad home. There was no consoling me. Nothing. Every time mom and dad come to visit, I had to sit next to my dad and give him coffee. And my mom, with her sparkly eyes and love for me, warmed my heart. I had to learn how to do the cleaning and the cooking and everything for everybody. The hate was in the air with my aunt. Said I was a liar, I was just like my dad, and I went to school and she made my clothes, and when the mini skirts came out, I had to wear 1880s clothes that were almost to the ankles, and I wanted loud clothes, loud colors. I loved colors, and she hated it, hated me. And my neighbor wanted to take me home with her and do my clothes a little bit different, raise the hem up a little. And she, absolutely not, you're not going to do that. And I don't know what, in the 60s, Wayne had to go to Vietnam, and he was in love with this lady. I could see how much he loved her, and I was grateful that he would marry her someday. Love was important to me. And at age 7, this is what my aunt does. She tells the oldest child about sex, and I doubt she told him much of anything. He probably learned it from school. And then he tells his brother, Vincent, and then Vincent tells Alan, and Alan doesn't. Well, Vincent got pregnant, his girlfriend pregnant, and he tells Alan about sex and doesn't tell him the morals. And the day he tells him about sex, Alan comes to my bedroom tells me to not take my pants down and bend over. And I can to this day hear the jingling of his belt. And I have no words at that age. And he says, don't tell anybody. I'm not going to hurt you. And he sticks his thing in my butt and I scream and says, it wasn't supposed to hurt. I don't get it. And he's, I'll find out. So he goes back to his brother, and the next day he comes to me and says, I promise you I won't hurt you. And he has me lay down on the bed, and he gets on top of me, and he enters me. And the thing is, it didn't hurt. And I'm only a few months from my birthday, and I remember being 8, and I go to the bathroom and my clothes are bloody. And I run into the living room in the closet and I hide in there. And I don't know what I'm going to do because he must have hurt me. And then I put the clothes in the laundry and my aunt sees the dirty clothes and she tells me it's about just probably because I'm got Bigfoot in my life, and when he's here, my ear nose itches. So anyway, the only thing she tells me is this is about having babies. That's it. And tell me when you bleed. That it's called menstruation, or it's your period, or whatever. But I'm embarrassed, so I never tell her. I stick it in my night bag, and my night bag gets all bloody, and I try to clean it up, and she never figures it out what's going on. That boy walks around the house, following me everywhere I go. I go to the bathroom to go in the bathroom to go to the bathroom, and he opens the door and comes in and plays with me. Feeling hands all over me. Go to church. He's got holes in all my pants, so he's got his hands inside of my privates while we're going to church. I go to the basement to put clothes on the line to dry off, and he comes down there. No matter where I go, he's there. And I go out to the barn to play with my cats. Meanwhile, my aunt is yelling at me, and I have to learn how to cook, and I burn the bacon, and I have to scrub the floors, and when I scrub the floors, they have to be so clean. There can't be a dry spot on the floor. There's a little dry spot where I didn't wipe it down with a little bit of water, I had to do the whole floor over. And if the bucket of water was still dirty, I had to scrub the floor till the water was totally clean. I didn't get a mop to grip to clean the floor. I had to do it on my hands and knees. And I can't express the hate she had for me. All this little girl wanted with her to love her. I wish I could redo the story I had on my laptop, but I didn't know to save it. 50 pages down the... I do have some of them, but I would beg her and beg her to love me, only to hear a roof over her head, food in her mouth, and clothes on your back was love enough. Every day, argue and fight, and she'd say I'm a liar like my dad, and I'm a thief, and I've never done anything. I do things to make her happy, think that I would. I thought eventually the lady's gonna learn to love me. She's gonna see who I really am. I'm gonna keep trying. I put my doll I got when I was at home, my old home, a wedding dress doll. You know, those that walk in the old days. And I cut its hair. I don't know why, but my aunt was mad at me. Probably for using a scissors. But I put that doll in her bed where her husband would sleep and where I slept sometimes to have sex with my brother. And she'd get in bed and she'd hug that doll and she'd scream at me and I'd laugh. Donna Lee! That's what they call you when you're mad. Your middle name goes in with it. Get this thing out of my bed! Every day I thought there would be some reason, somehow, I'd find the way. I notice children in school, when I get off the bus, their parents or their grandparents would come out and greet them and hug them. Nobody greeted me and hugged me. I suppose nobody did in the family. I think I had to scrub the floor in the kitchen every day when I come off the school bus. From the time I was kindergarten. I don't know when it quit. I think when, I don't know, a teenager and they decided to buy a dishwasher. But I was never able to get my schoolwork done because I was always doing work at home twice a year. We take everything out of all the closets, all the dressers, everything, and go through them and see if they fit and get all the clothes out of the attic and try them on and get rid of the ones that didn't fit, and in the hallway where there's this ladder that goes into the attic, and I was going to be big enough to grab that chain so I could pull it down. Do you know I never got any taller? Probably because I was so abused that my internal body was hurt and my adrenal glands were broken, and eventually as I grew up I lost this part of my colon. I never was able to have children, never got married, but the age of 8, like I said, I started my period. My aunt was mad at me and hated me. Every day I tried to make things better. Like I said, tried to hug her because I saw those children hugging their family. And it worked for a few days. And finally, about the 4th day, she says, "Why do you have to hang on to me? I don't like it." I was broken. I thought, well, she doesn't like hugs. I'll find something else. Okay? Because I noticed she never hugged, so I thought maybe she just needed hugged. Anyway, at the age of 8, I was staring into outer space. I'd stop and I'd look at the outer space. Donna Lee, quit staring out in outer space. Quit dreaming. And it happened quite a bit. And finally she says, "You're going to sit next to your dad at the dinner table. That's my punishment to you. You're going to learn to behave." And my dad, my uncle, her husband, says, "Grow up, little girl. Grow up." Why did I have to grow up? I sat next to him at the dinner table for the rest of my childhood till I was out of the house. But anyway, so who got fed first? My uncle. Who got fed last? Me. And there was 8 of us, so if there wasn't enough food, I got what there was. I never starved, but she complained that I was too skinny. I wasn't too skinny. I was chunky. She weighed 250 pounds. And so the teacher at school says, "Tonight when you get home, your sometimes words don't come out. Sorry. Your assignment is to do something without being told when you go home. Please your parents." I can do that," I said to myself. Yeah, there's a little cubby on the edge of the stair steps going down the stairs, and we put our canned goods there. I'm going to take that all out. I'm going to wash it off, and I'm going to organize it. Put the peas and the beans and all the vegetables together, and I'm going to organize it. And then on the other side, I'm going to put all the fruit. And my aunt and my mother is going to love it. Going to love it. She's going to be pleased with me doing something without being told. And I wait for her to come home. She was a nurse's aide. She comes home and I said, "Mom, look what I did for you." And she's, "Why in the hell would you do something without being told? You're wasting a bunch of time, and wasting time is a sin." Oh, it hurt me so deeply. And, you could have asked me, and you would have been able to do something more constructive. Her birthday's coming. It's in August. I think my multiples say I need to talk more about being sexually abused. Because while I was being sexually abused by Alan, he had the other two, Kim and my sister, and Kevin, looking out the window for Mom and Dad to come home. Eventually, Kevin and Kim play strip poker with him and me. So the game was who lost got to do the abusing. But he changed the game eventually, so I would lose. And he'd tie me up to the bed, and he'd whip me. Sometimes he'd suck on my breast, and he'd say, "Oh, I got something out of there, oh," whatever. And he'd have sex with me again. My sister occasionally would get naked and stand on the bed and dance. When we fix in the barn, we'd fix a room and paint it all up, and he'd take the bales of hay or straw, whatever we had that time, and he'd diagram it so that there was a hole in the middle. So in the winter time, yeah, I could be naked and he could have sex with me. It was cold. And some of my cousins knew about it. And I was told they tried to have sex with my sister that was 6 years younger. Not Kim. Her name was Linda. But she was known to tell because her mom was a nurse. My uncle, my mother's brother, took her. I remember when my mom got pregnant and she tried to explain to me that she was having another child, but I didn't understand. I was six, 6 or 7, 6, and she says, "What do you want to name the baby?" Well, I had just gotten a Chatty Cathy doll, so I wanted to name her Chatty Cathy. To this day, I think she should have been called Chatty Cathy because she talks a lot. That I've known of her anyway. I don't know how the parents didn't notice why I was gone so much and why there was holes in my underwear, my clothes, and my pants. And yet, I was punished for everything. I bought her that gift for her birthday, and I couldn't wait for her eyes to sparkle and be pleased with me for what I got her. Only for her to tell me, opened it up and said, "Who possessed you in making you buy this for me? I don't like it." And her husband says, "Virginia, oh my God," and walks out the door. And I bawl and I say, Why can't she just pretend to like something once in a lifetime for me?" My sister puts her arms around me and says, "Let's get out of here." She never stood up for me, my sister, because she believed in my aunt, and being forced to call her mom because, well, me being, what's the word, inquisitive? trying to figure things out. I didn't know why she was called Aunt and my mom was called Mom. And so I thought I'd figure it out by telling my new brother, Kevin, why don't you try calling her Mom and see what happens? Well, that was the worst thing, because from then on, I had to call her Mom. And then it was a secret. I had to keep a secret. Every time Mom came, I had two moms and was confused. And I was so careful never to ask or call for my Aunt Jenny Mom in front of my mom. And oh my God, it happened. Oh, I called my Aunt Jenny Mom in front of my mom, and my mom said, "She's not your mom, I am." And I hurt my mom. Oh, why did I do that? Why did I slip? I didn't want to hurt my mom. That's why I tried my best not to do that. My mom had such beautiful eyes. I don't even know what color they were. I think they were brown. But the love in her eyes, and the reason why I asked her to be my mom. And Mitzi means Mother of God. And I came from heaven. There's many entities that calls themselves God, so I still remember being revered by all and even God. And one of the females that's revered is the Holy Spirit, Sophia. So I wind up taking seizure medicine, the 808, and what happens is Mom, Aunt Jenny, calls me Slowpoke, Lady Astor. And I come home from school and I'd say, the kids tease me. See, we only had bathtub days on Saturday, and all 6 of us children had a bath in the same water. And me having periods, I was told not to have a shower or a bath at all, until somebody at school told me it was okay. And I got yelled at for taking a shower. But I said, well, they said I could. They said it'd be okay. Well, that's she let me. And then, of course, my hair. She'd yank on my hair. She never was kind to me at all, any which way. Yank on my hair till I screamed. And her description of me was straggly hair. You look like a witch. Your nose was like a pig. And those lips were the N-word. My hair was cut in the pixie style, where real short and square and ugly. I got teased for what I wore in school. And I'd say, Mom, the kids tease me at school. And she says, what did you do to make them hate you? And I'd come home sometimes, and there was this child at school, a playmate that I liked. I didn't play at school, but I liked her because she had seahorses. And I don't remember if she brought them to school, but I just liked the idea of her talking about what she had at home. And I came home and I said, Mom, I like Teresa. Can she be my friend? You can't have her for your friend. Her parents are sinners. I think her parents were Mexican, or a different, I don't remember, but for sure, but I remember her name. And every person I tried to get friends with were sinners. And I went to Iowa City and had all those electric things on my head. And I'm just a little girl. I'm in second grade, I think, because I think in the fourth grade I was, no, in the fifth grade I went to a different school. But I remember third grade trying to ask for female napkin things, and I didn't know how to say it, and I still can't say it. But anyway, I come to school, and my cousin Diane, we were good friends at the time, and I cried and I said, Diane, something wrong with my brain. Something's wrong with my brain. They won't tell me. And it's all the teasing I got from having seizures, and I sat on the corner of the building of the school, watched everybody else play. Was isolated. I couldn't be loved at home and couldn't have friends. And I tried day after day, to exhausting myself, trying to give that lady love and getting it back. I'd rung up behind her, and I'd put my arms around her, and she'd say, quit hanging on me, and push me away. Every time she hurt me. And I guess in her eyes I was just a crybaby. In my sister's eyes, I guess I was. My sister was a little princess, and I was the Cinderella that couldn't do anything right. When is my pumpkin gonna turn into a coach? Because I'm 65. So at 10, I was pretending to kill myself. I was over 30 when I quit doing this. At 10. Still did the rituals and, Catholic Church and baptism and all. It was a wonderful thing in a way. But some of the things I couldn't remember to get confirmed. And I took the name Elizabeth. I like the letter E's and Z's. But I remember telling myself, I no longer love myself. I hate myself. I can't do anything right. I can't make her happy. That little girl was bound and determined. Started giving up on herself. So I was in school, a different school, and I got teased a lot at school. I never stood up for myself. I guess I thought the Bible's place says if they hit you in the right face, give them the left. So I just took it in. It hurt. Over and over every day. So one day, some lady, I don't know if I made her or not, what happened, that she slapped me in the face. No, she spit me in the face. She spit in my face, and I slapped her back. And I got in trouble by the PE teacher. And when I went back to the school, because the high school and the grade school was close enough together that we walked from one building to the other. And as I walked back to the grade school, the principal said, "It's about time you stood up for yourself," and I felt so good. But I had a grand mal seizure during lunch. And who did they call? Alan. And sometime during my school year in 7th grade, I asked for a counselor, but I didn't even know what to say. And oh, I did say, well, I was doing dishes one day. The boys said that they was going to have sex with me when I was done. And so my dad come out and I said, give them this finger. Said, they said they're going to do this to me after they get done. And he says, just the finger, nothing more. It was the best I could ever do to try to get help. And during my childhood, I remember going, where is the help? God, where is the help? Who's going to save me? And I get down on my hands and knees and pray. And there's a song at church that gets me in the gut and my heart. Oh, hear, oh Lord, the sound of my prayer. Hear, oh Lord, and have mercy. My soul is longing for the glory of you. Oh, hear, oh Lord, and answer me. Why do I no longer feel like I've a place to stay? Oh, take me where someone will care, so fear will go away. Oh, hear, oh Lord, the sound of my call. Hear, O Lord, and have mercy. My soul is longing for the glory of you. Oh, hear, O Lord, and answer me. My multiples are reminding me some other stuff I should talk about. So be aware that I've not talked much ever about what's gone on. But I want this as a story of my life. An angel from heaven and the treatment she gets on earth. So out in the barn where I have to go into the bales of hay, or it's a hole, he takes corn cobs and sticks it inside me. Anything he can think to put inside me, he did. And of course, I'm tied with ropes around my arms and legs and whatever he can do. I'm cold and freezing because I don't have any clothes on. It's middle winter. In the house we have a train tracks, or we have a car race place, and he's playing with it, and he doesn't want to get away from playing with it, so he has me come to him, and he takes his pants down and pees in my mouth. Oh, it's so disgusting. And there's been times he's tried to ejaculate in my mouth. And then he takes this ring and sticks it on himself. And his penis would get all purple. And he starts screaming. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. Well, I have sympathy, and it hurts me for him to be hurting. So I have to take the saliva out of my mouth and put it all over his penis and try to get that ring off before his penis falls off or whatever it will do. Just a little girl. I have no words to even ask for help or tell people what's going on. Where is the state of Illinois? Where's the people that's supposed to check on us? See, I have multiple personality from all this trauma that I've went through. You know, my aunt, I looked at her with evil eyes, and she'd always say, if looks could kill, I'd be dead. True. True. I was bound and determined. I was going to fix it. I was going to fix the problem. But I didn't know how to talk about being sexually abused. Even in school. And I did get the guts to tell my counselor, only for him to ask me if I wanted to have sex with him. And I was devastated. And I got to thinking, he hadn't had children, and I was in high school, so since as old as I am, 15, his oldest child was like 15, and 9 months after he said he wanted to ask me for sex, he had another baby, and it devastated me. I really liked that counselor. I never cried when he was having sex with me. I become numb. I become a nobody. I had no feelings. I was no one. Empty. No feelings. And I never ever got the love of that aunt. Ever. I was graduated from high school, and I wasn't allowed to have this summer off. Oh, yes. My mom will say, you need to talk about the animals. Because while all this is going around as a child, going on as I might have to get my papers and read what I had, but I'll close pretty soon for today. But going out to the barn, I had kitty cats, and the only love I could get from anybody in that house, anybody, not even my sister, and I loved my sister. Now my sister couldn't walk when we was taken to this home, and I had to take her and walk her up and down this hallway to get her to learn how to stand up and walk for herself. And Wayne just loved that little girl. Took her everywhere he could. We went to Burlington, Iowa, in the Snake Alley, and we drove down the Snake Alley fast. And he bought her an ice cream baseball thing where you put the ice cream in the baseball, and you take a soda, put the one end in the soda, and you sucked it out like a ice cream sundae or ice. What was it called? Yeah, ice cream and and sundae and pop, and um, I thought it was so cool, but I never got anything. Kim was wonderful, and I was hated. Only one time was I was an almost adult. It was teenager. Wayne took me fishing, and my birthday was in July. And I got the biggest fish, and I was so proud of myself. Only for him to say, "It's gonna be wormy. You have to throw it back." And to this day, I'm mad at him for not showing me the burnt worms in it, if there was, because we could have ate it if there wasn't. And but the animals went out to the farm, out to the yard, and playing with the kitties, and my cats would have kittens, and I'd bring them in to my aunt, and she's, "Get those things out of my house. Oh, those things. You're not going to ever have friends because you like dirty animals, and nobody likes dirty animals, and you can't ever have friends because you don't ever going to have anybody that likes dirty animals." Kind of hurt me a lot because all she could say is, "They're cute," or make me feel good about having something to love. And as I grew up, I wasn't allowed to love them, ever. I wasn't allowed to learn anything about them. I wanted to go to 4-H, and I went to 4-H. Of course, it wasn't about animals. To this day, I talk about animals all the time, and my family is almost disgusted with me at a funeral, be talking about my animals, whatever. Because I wasn't loved, and I don't know how to talk. So I will get my papers and talk some more later.